Back at IntoMobile in the UK. Today we've got the HTC Tattoo to have a look at. Very nice it is too, so you can see it on the top of the box there. It's come in pre-production box, so we won't dwell on that. What we can dwell on, in fact, though, is the very nice form factor of the Tattoo. So it's not especially big as a handset at all. You can see it kind of sits neatly in the palm of your hand, as it were. And when it fires up, let's just have a little zoom in, you'll be able to see a very, very nice interface courtesy of HTC Sense UI. So I'm not going to do an in-depth run through all the applications because this is very, very similar to the Hero in terms of the UI and what have you. I'm just going to focus a little bit more on the hardware today because that is the main differentiator. You might have noticed it has a really quite different form factor from the European Hero, although not looking radically dissimilar to the US Hero, where it had a kind of lack of chin, as it were. So it's a relatively diminutive little device. You can see that it's got the standard set of buttons on there. So you've got your home key, menu, back key, search button, then also your call button, which is just here, and your hang up call, and also take the standby button as well. And what I mean by that is, if you press it, the screen goes off. You press it again, come back on, but you have to unlock the pad. Probably the one major difference I noticed immediately with this handset is it's got a resistive screen, so you can feel a little bit of play in the screen, which I have to be honest, I'm not a big fan of resistive screens at all. I had some very interesting experiences with some of the earlier handsets that had them, and I really am not a big fan. So having said that, that's no reason to discount this phone because of that. I think many people that do get on with them will not have an issue, but obviously I suppose that light touch you have with capacitive sorts of screens, similar to what you get on the Hero, you don't have that on this handset. You need to actually push into the screen just a little bit in order to get something to happen. So that's not looking particularly good news, but anyway, we'll pull away from that for a second and just go back to the home screen. So as I said, to focus on the hardware for a second, so it's I would say slightly thicker possibly than the Hero was. Not hugely, but there's just a slight amount of extra depth in it. You've got that similar kind of nondescript looking volume button, but I can assure you there is a rocker under there for the volume, so you can turn it up and down, probably much to the chagrin of anyone that's around you if you've got a particularly annoying ringtone. But anyway, moving on. So key differences again from the Hero: no chin, and then this whole joysticky button affair here. So you've got a centre press in there. On the Hero it was a ball that you could press in, a roller ball, and on here you don't roll to the side, you tap to the side, but it still gives you that same kind of effect on the UI. So very, very nice scrolling indeed, super smooth, which is what you'd expect, very iPhone-esque in its fluidity. Obviously the actual screen core UI buttons themselves, so the pop-up menu, pop-down menu, the phone, all have, you know, broadly, or in fact exactly similar functions to the Hero. You can also swipe across the screen as well, but obviously again with the resistive screen you need to depress the screen slightly in order to get the pressure of the swipe, which is again one of the things I don't find quite as attractive compared to a capacitive screen, but I'm sure for those of you that are out there that love resistive screens, this will be seventh heaven. Again, on those buttons, let's just see if we can get them to light up and just focus in. So you've got your home and menu. They all do much as you would expect. In fact, menu just gives you a mini pop-up here which you can then drive the entire menu from, and then you can scroll up and down. The button, interestingly in this case, so then when you tap it will give you focus on the icons, and then you can use that again to scroll around, but in a much less fluid sense, whereas you could flick it normally. With the button you've just got the traditional highlight and tap across. So I mean, I think overall there are very, very many similarities to the Hero. I'm not going to dig into the software because it is exactly the same, and if you want to see more on the UI and the applications, have a look at my my Hero overview, which you'll find on IntoMobile as well. But one of the other differentiators with the Tattoo is this new service they're going to offer to personalise your device. I forget the URL exactly at the moment. I will put it in the post, but it's something along the lines of Tattoo My HTC or My HTC Tattoo. One combination of those three words. Anyway, the point being that you can, for about something like 12 to 14 euros, order a new case with a customized graphic on it. Obviously, this one's got the little Android robot on it and the HTC logo. But essentially, you can replace this entire back cover down to here, up to obviously to the top, with your own cover, which it's been done many times before, and not very well by a lot of other companies. But I think this is potentially, for the market they're aiming for, a really nice feature. But one thing I will say about this is it's priced very well. What I've seen in the kind of retail channels in the UK, it's going for a very reasonable fee indeed, and because of that, I think it's going to appeal to a much wider audience. I mean, the spec of the device is slightly lower than the Hero, but the goal obviously is to get it out there into the mass market. And HTC have come an awful long way in the last few years. But if they keep making devices like this, they're going to be putting some serious pressure on the market, because it is a very nice little device to hold. It's not too heavy, not too light. It feels solidly built. So for those that don't mind the screen, I'm sure that'll be fine as well. There are no obvious kind of creaks or cracks or anything. And I think the hardware is really quite good indeed. And obviously that nice HTC overlay that they've done on the UI certainly doesn't do it any harm either. So overall, a very accomplished effort from HTC, filling out their product portfolio quite nicely in the kind of mid to high tier rather than the super high tier. And roll on more Android handsets, I say. If this is the quality that they're making, brilliant. I literally cannot wait for the next one.